right, welcome to The Climb. This is a show dedicated to helping singers and songwriters and artists like you create leverage in the music industry. That is what The Climb stands for. It is an acronym which stands for Creating Leverage in the Music Business. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to you my talented co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter. Hi, Brent.
Hey.
Brent is a award-winning hit songwriter with cuts and hits from Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And Brent helps songwriters like you turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. And you can find Brent at manvsrow.com. That's manvsrow.com. And Brent has recently rebranded to songwritingpro.com, and you can find them on either one of those. But Songwriting Pro, we figure, is a little easier to remember, and it sounds positive to go with one of your key points to writing in the last episode.
That's right. Less angry. Less angry.
That's right. Less angry. How you doing, Brent?
I'm doing well, Johnny. Good to see you, man. Well, I just want to introduce you to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating cash flow. All right. So Daredevil's worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S. Hey, Johnny. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, brother. How you been?
Awesome. Rocking along. Good. Happy to be here. Take a sip of my agua.
Outstanding. What I want to talk, I'm going to take a sip of some agua, too. What we want to talk about today is the future of the music business and where it's going and why it's going there.
Okay, I'm glad you got that crystal ball out because I need some help.
You know what it is? It's not so much a crystal ball as much as it is a look in the past. It's surprising enough.
Look at that.
So we're going to talk about, and this is the whole business model of Daredevil, why I get to make a living helping artists in the music industry is because we are bringing permission marketing to the music industry. Permission marketing is not a brand new idea at all. Permission marketing is exactly how all business was done prior to the Industrial Revolution. Before we invented the car, you had a horse, which meant that all the business that you did was in a 2-3 mile square mile area. And because you couldn't reach people outside of that, and because you couldn't get mass products hauled in a bulk manner that was effective, you did business with people in your town. So you knew the owner of the general store. You knew the blacksmith. You knew the veterinarian. You knew the school teacher. You had relationships with them and trust and constant commerce. Fast forward to the early 1900s where Henry Ford invented the assembly line. And all of a sudden it became possible to blow up a big factory, make thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces where you could buy those products in bulk at a much lower cost, increasing your margin. And that was a good way to make money. Well, the mass media, as we know it today, was created as a byproduct of mass manufacturing. Companies like Procter & Gamble, who, by the way, they're Procter & Gamble's first product, Dove soap. Dove soap was the first soap ever presented as a product to replace homemade soap.
There we go. I just already learned something new.
Yeah, and Crisco was their second product, and Crisco was the first product ever presented to replace lard. So companies like this could create products and wanted to sell them to a larger market.
Because they need a ton of this stuff, right? So they had a ton of it, so they got to reach a ton of people to sell it.
How do we reach a ton of people? I started thinking. Now, this is in the early 1900s. So the local town crier newspaper all of a sudden became a national newspaper. A magazine became a national magazine. It turned into Time magazine. It turned into Newsweek. It turned into Cosmopolitan. And then 30 years later, we invented radio. And then 10 years after that, we invented television. Boom. So there was 3 networks on TV when they invented television, ABC, CBS, and NBC. And that worked all the way up until 1979. And 228 million people in the country. So for decades, from the onset of the Industrial Revolution in the very early 1900s to 1979, whatever the heck it was that you were selling, as long as you were advertising the crap out of it on television, radio, or print ad, you sold more product. It was easy. There was no clutter.
Right.
And then in 1980, what happened? We invented cable TV. I want my MTV. And slowly, over the next 20 years, the viewership of shows began to decline. I mean, when you talk about mass marketing and mass media, the keyword is mass. And in 1979, if you had the number 3 show on television, and which means you sucked and you were at the bottom of the barrel, you still had a bigger audience than American Idol has ever seen.
You still got a bronze in the Olympics, man.
You were reaching 30, 40, 50 million people at one time, because there's only 3 choices on TV to watch any kind of quality program. So that's where things began to decline. And in the early 1990s, in the early 1990s, 1991, 92, 93, people started to see, because we're well into the choices on cable TV now. We're way past 3 channels. We've got 20 or 30 or 40, maybe even 50 we can choose from. Right. And that's not including like the paid channels, HBO, Showtime, etc. But they're starting to splinter off, and these companies there's more clutter now. Then what happens? We invent the internet. So here's a little factoid. Most people don't realize this, but you all see an average of 3,000 ads per day. If you include billboards, commercials on TV, commercials on the radio, pop-ups, banner ads on the web experience. And Seth Godin wrote this book called Permission Marketing. Believe it or not, this book was published in 1999. It's just now coming into the awareness of the music industry, and we're one of the companies that are on the forefront of doing this, simply because in 1999, when he came out with this book, where businesses who were into mass marketing were experiencing trouble from the clutter, radio was working just fine.
Yeah.
We had Shania Twain in 2004 selling 11 million records, and everything was just hunky-dory. And it wasn't until the choices came into the infrastructure of the radio with the invention of this little gadget right here, where
smartphone and
now I don't have to listen to I want to listen to my jam. I don't have to listen to something that's unfamiliar, so I'm going to keep changing the channel. And radio lost its power to infiltrate your brain, to take the unfamiliar and make it familiar. And there's frequency that's required in that, which is going to be an upcoming episode here. But you have to hear a song 7 or 8 times. I have to hear an advertising message 7 or 8 times before it sinks in, and you begin to relate to that and really understand it. And especially if you consider that you're not sitting there with the intent on concentrating on the song. Usually you're in the car with some friends talking, and there's other things that are going on. Kids are screaming in the background. So it takes frequency. Well, as there's so much clutter right now that the business world outside of the music industry knows it's getting more and more difficult to reach people. We've become numb to advertising.
It's white noise.
It's white noise, and we don't, and you can't get through. And listen, it can be the best ad in the world, but think about this: if you ate at the very best, top of the line, most expensive restaurant with the best chef on the planet every single day, it would get old.
Well, I mean, my wife is the best cook in the world, so I wouldn't know about that. But I do, eat that stuff every night.
You got
in case you're listening, honey. Honey, I love you. Thank you.
So,
I heard this thing interesting. Donald Miller was talking about it, and on his podcast, Building a Story Brand, and he was talking about some research they had done about how our brains are trying to survive, and by that they're trying to preserve calories. So our brains want to do as little as possible to preserve the energy and the calories. And so I think probably that kind of fits in with all that white noise, all that clutter. It's like our brains are just going, well, I got to filter most of this stuff out because I'm still caveman brain who doesn't know where my next meal's coming from, and I want to preserve calories and energy in case I got to run from a bear later or don't get to eat and kill a bear for a week. So all this stuff's going away. I'm not focusing on that. It has to really break through to get my attention, and the ones that do are also the ones that don't make me think too much.
That's right. So, the smart artists are going to figure out this book. First of all, highly recommend reading it, Permission Marketing. Again, 1999. This is not old news outside the business world. And this is stuff that I've done in other businesses that we saw our angle and our edge in the industry to bring in to the music industry, because the music industry didn't need it until 3 or 4 years ago. But permission marketing is, instead of focusing on selling product, instead of focusing on pushing a product, focus on creating a relationship, focus on creating trust and owning some space and the attention from that person. There's a lot of you right now that love this podcast. This is a form of permission marketing. You love this podcast. We give you great information, and when that shows up in your email box, you're like, yes, it's relevant, it's personal to you, and it's anticipated. That's permission marketing. How do you apply that to your artist connecting with the consumer? This is the trick. And there's lots of stones that need to be turned over and little secrets hiding under stones out there. But that's what's happening. That's what we've done with Bailey James. We've talked about that in past episodes. Let's create that relationship first. If they like her, they're going to listen to that song. If we do a good job and we got a hit song and we do a good job recording it, it's competitive, it sounds great, then they're going to buy it.
So wait,
because $10 isn't that much money.
So let me just see if I'm hearing you right. So in the past, radio was the only game in town, right? So they're going to make sure you hear the song, hear the song, hear the song, hear the song, like the artist. Okay, where now I don't have to hear anything new if I don't want to. I got skips and I got other stations and I got all these other choices. So now the trick is, like the artist, like the artist, like the artist, hear the song, buy the song.
That's right.
Okay, so it's split backwards.
So that's what. So we're marketing from the perspective of, you got to know that general store owner, you got to know that teacher in your town. They need to feel like they're a part of your tribe, and if they do, they're going to do business with you. And that's of course assuming that you're up to par on your songwriting, you're making good recordings, and you're thinking Stephen Pressfield, think like a professional, behave like a professional, and then you will eventually become a professional as long as you're in that mode. So it is about permission marketing. It's list building. You heard people talking about that, but that's the essence of what's going on. When they are excited to hear from you, when you're giving them good content on your social media channels, stuff that makes them feel good, stuff that's about them, when you're shouting out to them, when you are in the situation where they are excited to get an email from you, you're going to have email open rates that are in the high 30% range. Okay, I've had a couple of those at Daredevil through our mailing list, where it's like 30% of people open the email, which is, if you hear people talk about email marketing, they're like, well, I mean, it's only 2 or 3%. Those are for blast emails and stuff like that. But when you have permission, and a lot of you are participating in permission marketing already. I know for me, there's a restaurant in a sushi place that Carrie and I like, and we are hooked up to get an alert on my phone whenever they have a sale going on, if they got a deal happening. And it influences our decision to go there sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Bar Louie is another place. Sometimes they got great deals going on. So there's different companies that have begun to utilize this kind of marketing because they want you to like them and to accept their message when it comes. So that way you don't have to break through the clutter. And with permission marketing, and again, this is a future episode, we talk about reach and frequency are the two necessary components for marketing. But if you're on the radio, it costs a lot of money to get that song on the radio.
Yes.
Millions and millions of dollars. And then it costs a lot of money to keep that song getting spun. So just to get the reach costs a fortune. Then to get the frequency costs a fortune. Because if I got to hear it 7 times and I have a busy life, how many spins in that market is it going to take before it gets sunk in and your song becomes my jam? And here's the trick. Here's the benefit of permission marketing. The frequency is free.
That's right.
It's free. So you need to get there. And I'm not talking about having their email address. I'm talking about having their permission. And there's a difference. When they're getting relevant, personal, and anticipated messages, when you don't put out a podcast for a week, or you don't put out a blog for a week, and you get emails that are like, hey, where's the blog? I'm missing you right now. I need to read something. That's permission.
So it's kind of like a telemarketer might have my phone number, but they don't have my permission. My wife has my phone number, and she has my permission. If I don't hear,
picking up that phone.
I'm picking up that phone, right? Because it's not caller unknown. It's like, oh, that's Emily. Yeah. Okay, I'm taking this call, and it's not, I don't miss my telemarketer if they don't call me for a week. I'm glad. Right. If I think about it at all, I'm like, ooh, I haven't
doing everything I can to get on the don't call list again.
But I don't hear from my wife for like a week or two. Something's wrong. I miss it. I'm like, baby, we good?
That's exactly right. And artists can set this up. And this happens like with Bailey. If we miss a week, and we've missed a couple weeks where she's not putting up her song, we fall off a little bit and we lose that momentum. So as long as we keep them entertained, they're there. They're on board. And that allows you to build from there once you have that permission marketing. And permission marketing is very much about subscriptions, which is subscription-based business model, which is another very new thing that we're bringing in the music industry with Bailey James, which brings me to a technology that I want to talk about with you, and that is the iDiddy card.
iDiddy. Is that anything with P. Diddy? Or
no, it's
anything that ends up in a baby's diaper?
No. Depends on the music that you download. But this card, it looks like a backstage pass. Amazing product. It looks like a backstage laminate, like a VIP laminate, like an artist pass. And on the back's QR code. You can download the iDiddy app from your app store, either on a Samsung or on an iPhone for free. And that card will upload all that artist's information into that app. There's a music player. You can put whatever you want on. You can put on a single, which you might want to give away for free just to make that connection. You can put on the whole record. You can upload images on a regular basis. They can be connected to your YouTube channel. So every time a new music video comes out or you do a new cover on YouTube, it can go there and you can send them perk alerts or those little alerts that you get on your smartphone when you get a text message. That's an alert. So you can send that and keep your fans in the loop. If you're a touring artist, this is insane. Like every night you should be taking pictures, putting up content, and the people who saw you 2 weeks ago can still live on the tour vicariously through you. It has all your social media links to it so that they can instantly connect with you and do those things. This is also the big deal. It's connected to SoundScan. So,
and SoundScan is what is kind of the official scorekeeper for record sales, right?
Exactly. Though all these sales charts, which are different than like your Reverb Nation charts or whatever, the charts that are based on record sales, the Billboard Top 200, is based on SoundScan information. We know artists like Anthony Oreo, fantastic entertainer, fantastic artist. Anthony has got a business going, and he probably goes out, and he's playing about 200 dates a year, I think.
Yep. Yeah, he does.
And he'll go out and make a record, and he'll go out, and from the stage, he'll probably push 3,000 to 7,000 units over the course of a year and make enough money to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
But on the industry, he's a ghost. It doesn't count. SoundScan doesn't recognize it, but this they would. Now, because it's a download, and once you get 5 songs downloaded, it counts as a record sale. So imagine a subscription service where you charge a couple bucks a month and you give away your music for free as long as they're in the subscription. Then you can literally look at a chart. You can look at your list and say, here's how many people are on this list a week before my second release. This is how many records we're going to sell the day of the release.
Yeah.
And that's what SoundScan is going to record. So it's a new way of thinking about it. But you touched on something really important before, and I'll wrap this up. And that was that it used to be the single first. You did the record first, then you marketed it.
Right.
And because radio was the way, the delivery mechanism of choice for the drug that we call music.
Right.
For decades and decades and decades. So it wasn't until your single was done did the world find out who you were. But now radio's not working anymore. Radio's not breaking artists anymore. You're not going to break on the radio. In fact, you're probably not going to get on the radio very shortly here until you're so popular that you can't be denied. I know that the P1 stations like Cumulus and CBS, if you're not in the top 40 on Billboard in sales, we don't care who you are. You're not getting spun. You're not going to get on radio. So radio has become an echo chamber for what is already popular that will take your little bonfire and turn it into a forest fire. But it's not going to create your bonfire for you, which is the way it used to be. So it is now about the artist first. The artist is what is going to be the initial. You're going to fall in love with the artist. You're going to meet the artist, their personality, their quirks, your talent. That's what's going to get you going, and then it's going to turn into sales. So, and permission marketing is the way to do it. If you're reading about this, you're going to start asking the right questions. And and the answers are different for every single artist, but too many of you are asking the wrong questions. I just got to meet the right person. I just had an email exchange today with a gentleman that was just coming from the heart. Like, I just need to get some good contacts. And then I'm off and I'm like, what if they say yes? What if they love you? They can't do anything about it.
Right.
Their business model isn't going to allow them. They're not going to develop the artist. So that said, guys, that is the end of permission marketing this episode on the climb. And Brent, we are giving away a book. Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry for talking so much this episode. I'm learning here, so I'm like, okay, I should be taking notes. Thank you for sending me the outline. I need to read that book. So yes, I have a book that I'm giving away. It's called Think Like a Pro Songwriter, and that's one of the goals of songwritingpro.com. My website is to help you think, write, and do business like a pro songwriter. So this is a free book to get you going where you start thinking like a pro songwriter, and you get it at giftfrombrent.com. So giftfrombrent, BRENT.com. But I'm not the only one with a book I'm giving away. Johnny, you also have an Amazon bestseller.
Amazon bestseller, Twitter, but I give it away for free. It still sells every month on Amazon. It's astounding, I guess. But is Twitter 101, Music Marketing on Twitter. This book is a tour through Twitter. It demystifies the app and shows you exactly how every button works, etiquette, things you should be doing on Twitter, things to help you make Twitter work. It will show you how the tools that we use to optimize our time. I don't have a lot of time. We've got a lot of clients. We can't be messing around trying to scratch our head on following people, unfollowing people, and posting content. We got to go fast, and we got to move, and we got to spend our time being creative. So it'll show you how to get 1,000 loyal, targeted fans every single month added to your Twitter account for just 15 minutes of work a day, which is pretty easy. You can get that at giftfromjohnny.com. It's absolutely free. giftfromjohnny.com. And that's the end of our the Climb episode here, episode 12.
Wow, getting up there.
Permission marketing. And listen, if you like this stuff, reciprocate just a little bit. We love doing this. We love sharing this information with you. But please take 30 seconds and give us a rating and review on iTunes so that we can reach more artists and more writers and get them on board and start the revolution here. We're gonna improve songwriting, and we're gonna make sure they get heard through the marketing. And there's no better combination than that. So with that, guys, we will say thank you once again for listening to this episode of The Climb, and we'll see you on top.
Keep on climbing. We'll see you.